Welcome to Food and Loathing. I'm going to assume you know this is a Las Vegas podcast about dining. If for some reason you were expecting to hear the ghost of the late Hunter S. Thompson reading excerpts from his most famous book, you are a couple letters off. Hunter brought the fear, and we love him for it, but we bring the food. And when I say we, I'm talking about our core team, myself, Al Mancini, my co-host, Gemini Stevens, and our producer, Rich Johnson. We are all Vegas locals. Two of us have long-ass careers covering local restaurants. The other's a serious journalist who likes slumming with us because the recording sessions are so fucking delicious.
Indeed.
And I know you already put in an order for a lobster roll today, so that'll be coming up.
You got some other surprises for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where would we be surprising?
Yes, we are here at the Legends Oyster Bar on Durango and Desert Inn, man. And I cannot wait to start enjoying their cuisine. I know we've got the owner, Jack Jarukasem, is going to be joining us probably in about 10 or 15 minutes, so I'm excited about that. I've asked him to bring some food out when he comes, and you're getting that lobster roll, Rich, I promise you. I should start off by telling everyone that Gemini Stevens is not with us this week. She's been dealing with some health issues. If you're a friend of hers on social media, she's sharing what she chooses to share over there. So I'm just going to tell you that we're doing our best to carry on without her and keeping her chair warm for her return. We love you, Gem. Take your time, get well. Because I'm old and frail, and I need you to cover for me sometime soon.
I'm old and fat and the same thing. Lots of love heading out.
Luckily, I'm not on my own. Rich is here. Rich, how's it going, man?
Well, you're just having a good time, enjoying. Like I said, I have never been in this place before, and it is quite the seafoody decor with the nets and the floats on the wall and the corrugated stuff on the nets and floats on the ceiling, the corrugated metal on the wall, and notable articles from the past on the wall.
Yeah, and we've
hint,
got
hint, nudge, nudge.
Guy Fieri picture up there. We've got Jack with Gordon Ramsay up there, so showing off some of their famous friends as well here. And yeah, I dig this place. I like it. It's got those, the sort of this old the old diver suits, right?
Yeah.
Right? The ones that you got to screw your headpiece
on,
right?
100-pound head on it. Yeah.
And they've got that one over here, and then they've got this sort of octopus made out of seashells. And crazy shit. I like the decor in here, man. It puts you in a mood. Puts you in the mood for seafood.
It looks organic and not driven by a consultant like TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
Well, you got the canoe here and the old bicycle here.
Yeah, that's very true. And
we know how they're doing these days.
I'll talk to you a little bit about that later in the show. Somebody else is doing something like that. But it's funny. I came in here for a falafel because this used to be Sabababa or something like that, which was an Israeli guy that made fantastic falafels. I came in here one time. There's a sign up that it was going to be an oyster bar coming next. And then I remember driving by one day and I saw Jack here actually decorating this place himself and building it out. And yeah, man, this is it's a cool spot, man. And they have a lot of good seafood. It really runs the gamut. We'll get into the menu in a little while.
What else is on the show today?
This episode, what do we got? This may be a shorter one, but I think that's okay because after last week's 77 minutes at Vegas Unstripped and 35 or so interviews, I can actually use a low-key episode. So hopefully you'll enjoy this change of pace. We still have a lot of restaurant info for you. We're going to be, I told you, Jack's coming out. We also have interviews with Bob Biale of Bob Biale Vinyards and Marche Bacchus Lupe Avila, both recorded just prior to a Biale wine dinner at the landmark Desert Shores restaurant, Marche Bacchus. And you'll also hear me speak with CarverSteak's Daniel Ontiveros about their new spring menu and their brand new patio bar, The Spritz. Basilico's Rudy Aguas will share some info on their $1 oyster night, keeping with the theme.
Yeah.
And I suppose, we're going to have to get into this a little later, Rich. We got to talk about, a little bit at least, about the closing of both Bramare and Table 34, all the insanity that preceded it. We'll get into that to some degree later in this show. We have a new happy hour report from Happy Hour Vegas's Andrew Morgan. And shit, you know what? I don't know that I'm going to talk about the new show at Rio that I went to this week, but yeah, maybe I will, because I also ate a roast pork sandwich from Tony Luke's, so that gives me an excuse. So, right now, Rich and I are going to talk about where we've been eating, where we feed we're going to feed our egos by telling you where we feed our faces. So anyway, Rich, where have you been eating, man?
A lot at home. I did some serious cooking in the past week or so, making my two favorites for the freezer, beef stew and my faux Thanksgiving dinner. I think I've mentioned that before. The latter being a roast chicken, really, which came out nicely in my air fryer. Although you have to watch out how big a chicken you buy. Because I ripped off the skin pulling it out.
The fucking air fryer?
It's not a very big air fryer is the thing, yes, sir. And dressing, which I have some basic croutons that I buy in the grocery store, but I put in mushroom, celery, carrot, wild rice, onions, and a whole lot of fresh sage. So it's pretty darn good, if I say for myself. Also did the beef stew, same old thing. I did a paella using some pre-mixed paella spices I bought in Paris at the city's finest fancy food store, Le Grand Epicure de Paris.
Okay.
And it was pretty nice.
What kind of pan do you use for your paella?
I have a very proper paella pan, real thick gauge steel paella pan. I don't have those thin ones.
You able to get that good soakurat, that crispy rice on the
bottom?
bottom?
I am still dying on that. I'm trying, and I finally gave up because my shrimp were turning rubber.
I'm no chef. I don't know how to do that, man.
Yeah, I'm still haven't there. The box, 5 packets of this spice with paprika, salt, pepper, and saffron in there. I used 2 for this fairly big one. Next time I'll use the other 3 to get a little more kick.
Okay.
Out of the house.
Because you can't go back to Paris to buy any more.
No, I suppose I could find it online, except it'll be, $800 now with the tariffs.
Yeah, and you probably would want to go to a French online site. I mean, not a French, a Spanish online site instead of a French one.
I have good saffron from places and great smoky paprika that I've got at places. I made a return trip to William B's, the steakhouse at Suncoast Casino at Rampart. Happy hour men there.
You're starting to like that joint,
Yeah,
aren't you?
it's really a steakhouse classy inside, very comfy at the bar. Bartenders were really nice. And the happy hour thing, speaking of happy hours, the meat and cheese plate, $15 during happy hour. And that really is a meal for one, and it's pretty darn filling for 2.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good, man.
So it's part of the many big-time renovations they have made at Suncoast.
Yes.
I did resist the temptation to hit Taco Bell on Cinco de Mayo.
Good. Good, because I would have to smack you in the face.
No. I do reserve the right to maybe patronize Roberto's at the Fabulous Freddy's on West Charlton when I get my car washed after this rain stops.
I don't even know that I would eat at Roberto's if I was waiting for a car wash.
Well, there's also the Ike's there, but we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Every time I decide that I'm being too big of a snob and I should go give Roberto's a try again and I should just stop being a dick about it, I eat at a Roberto's and I become a dick about it again because it's never anywhere close to what I would consider good.
It's very big on volume.
Yeah.
If you want a lot of crappy food, no, it's not. It's not crappy, but it ain't the best in the world and all that.
I mean, if you're choosing between that and Taco Bell, I got to say, I don't honestly know where to send you. I guess Roberto's is locally owned, right? So we love them.
I got one more thing, my little rant here. Not so much what I've done, but what I will be doing.
Okay.
And that is patronizing Coco Donuts more often.
Coco Donuts.
Coco Donuts. It's a 2-store chain. There's one on South Rainbow, but the one I'm talking about is on West Cheyenne at Wallapai.
Really close to your joint?
Yeah, it's sort of around. I could almost walk there if I could get over the wall that separates Sun City from Cheyenne, but I can't. So it's a 15-minute drive.
I thought you'd be excited about Randy's Donuts opening up on Fort Apache.
Oh, I've gone there many times.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah, in Charleston and whatever that is there. And I
you
like
eat more
Randy's a
donuts
lot.
than a cop.
I know, I've got to cut down on that. But Coco, I'm going out of my way to go there. It's one of these places, the local places, where it's not 24 hours. They open at 6 a.m. They've made the day's batch of donuts, and they stay open till about 4 or until they sell them all. They've been closed like 1:15.
Yeah, a good donut shop is like a good barbecue shop. It should close when they run out. Rich, I'm not even looking at your notes right now because I don't have these notes in front of me, but I'm going to say, Rich, I bet you asked them to show you how they do a basic cake donut,
yes,
and then you'll take it from there, right?
And they have, and they do a very nice job. Okay. It's in this modest strip mall that includes a pizza place, a Roberto's, a European restaurant, a bank, and some other things. But right on the corner, there was this lot not part of the strip mall that is now being developed into 3 or 4 businesses. And the anchor business will be, wait for it, Dunkin' fucking Donuts. 150 feet from Coco is going to be this Dunkin' Donuts. And I can already tell you,
I mean, how did your landlord not fucking tell you that was
I think it's a separate piece of property, but that's what I think, because it's a whole new piece there.
That'd piss me the fuck off.
Oh, God. And you can see it's the size of the thing. It's too small to be making donuts, so the big Dunkin' Semi will show up every morning, stock the place with tasteless sweatshop donuts and shit coffee. Have you noticed that the default coffee order of Dunkin' is what they call coffee regular?
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
So.
Well, coffee regular means cream and sugar.
Uh-huh.
Because Dunkin' right off the bat realized early on that the plain black coffee is so vile they have to dress it up. I know they made a big deal about being the anti-Starbucks all these years, and Dunkin' coffee you can get in a grocery store.
Some blue-collar fucking coffee, right, man?
It's Folgers, for fuck's sake. You
Okay.
know? So
maybe you're just too foo-foo. Maybe my foo-foo-ness is rubbed off on you.
I want some taste I want some deep, dark, rich stuff happening in my coffee, which Starbucks originally did when they were grinding in the stores, and not as much now. But now, this Dunkin's going to have a whole shitload of donuts come from 10, 15 miles away.
But we say, fuck them, go to Coco.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to be fair, a lot of places do that. Like Randy's, you said, they've got the big place on Charleston near Wallapai, I forget the other street, and they make the donuts that they then ship over to the Resorts World Randy's. Mm-hmm. And so, donuts are one of those things that travel.
They travel
well.
fine.
They're
fucking donuts.
Pink Box does the same thing. They do.
It's really the time factor. It's not that they've traveled.
Yeah.
It's how,
But I'm just so fucking offended by the fact that the corporation comes in and wants to crush this two-store chain, Coco Donuts.
Capitalism, baby, capitalism.
I understand that, but I am going to fight it with my dollars that I will be spending at Coco Donuts on West Cheyenne. Thus endeth the rant.
Well, I respect you for that, sir. Okay.
I got to take
Plus, I also like you ranting and calling stuff shit for a change. That's usually my job on this fucking show.
So where have you been?
Okay, I'm going to go back a few weeks because I don't think we did this section last week. Let me start with Sorellina. It's this relatively new Italian restaurant from the team that brings us St. Honoré Donuts and Lola's Cafe and Three Little Chicks. The one and only Sorellina in their portfolio is located on Mall at Grand Canyon. This is my second or third visit. I really, really love the place. It's small. It's cozy. Italian-American restaurant. They've got a lot of nice small touches you don't see in a lot of neighborhood restaurants, like tableside preparation of their burrata salad. Also, really reasonable prices here. So we have that salad every time we go. We had that again.
I would have that right now, yeah.
Fantastic tomatoes come out, and then the big ball of cheese, and the guy comes to the table with the scissors, and he cuts the ball of cheese open for you. Then he takes the eyedroppers of the basil or whatever and drops some basil concoction on there, and it's really
balsamic
fucking
vinaigrette.
Good. Sue loves the tomatoes they use in the burrata salad, and I have to say I'm not a tomato guy, but she's right.
Yeah.
They brought us over some fried zucchini with lemon that was just fucking fantastic. I mean, honestly, it made me think of the Milos special, right? If you're a fan of Estiatorio Milos, they do that fried zucchini and eggplant. This is a different dish by far, but it was so fucking good. Beautifully, slicely thin, super crispy. Absolutely loved it. We did an appetizer, their meatballs, which they serve with pesto and some grated Parmesan cheese. That's great. You know my philosophy on meatballs. They're balls of fucking meat. What am I going to say about them? But these guys do them pretty damn well. We had some orecchiette alla barese, which is this classic, of course, Italian combination of sausage, broccolini, chili flakes, olive oil, and garlic, and they did a fantastic job with it. I think orecchiette works so well with that particular dish. And I did some linguine with white clam sauce. Tons of clams. I did have to ask for a bowl. They forgot to bring me a bowl, but that's okay. Yeah. Things happen. The managers are always on site here, and the owners are actually always on site. So your service is pretty much going to be good, even if it's somebody that looks like they may be relatively new to the place. You know they're going to care. Prices are reasonable, vibes great. Really, as if you want a neighborhood Italian place, this is a brilliant, brilliant neighborhood Italian place. If you're anywhere near the Durango Resort, you should be checking it out. I don't know that I'd call it a destination restaurant that I'd drive across town to, but you're
close anyway.
I'm super close to it, and I think about to me, it's kind of in the same ballpark as that. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank now. The Italian restaurant on Water Street that we all love. It's Carla Pellegrino's sister, and anyway, it reminds me of that. And I used to go all the way over there to get this kind of Italian restaurant. Now I have one near my house, so I'm happy.
Say goodbye, Henderson.
Yes, I don't have to go back to Henderson. Speaking of Henderson, I did that Lazy Dog tasting not that long ago, and I've told you that I like Lazy Dog. To me, Lazy Dog is a family-friendly restaurant. It's a place I could bring my 88-year-old aunt to. It's a place I could bring my parents to. It's a place I could bring, but I could still find food that I like there, right? Yeah. It's above the average family restaurant. Well, they do frozen dinner takeouts, and they gave us some to leave. These are the silver tray frozen dinners from the 1970s.
Oh, yeah, Swanson's,
with the fucking
baby.
compartments in them and all of that. And so I thought to myself, okay, man, maybe I'll try these. I'm sitting at home smoking some weed one day, and I'm like, okay, man, I'll do frozen dinners from Lazy Dog. There is not enough weed in the world to get me to finish those frozen dinners. So I did the pasta and red sauce with broccoli and a brookie-looking thing, meatloaf over mashed potatoes with peas and carrots and corn and a brownie. Looked like the peas and carrots and corn had fallen into my brownie, and they all mixed together. And I mean, look, man, if you were alive for the days when Swanson made frozen dinners, this is what they were, right?
They still do, babe.
I kind of expected that because Lazy Dog does family-friendly restaurants better than most family-friendly restaurants, that their frozen dinners would be better. They are not. Eat in the restaurant.
Okay.
Just eat in the fucking restaurant. I went out to Doberman Drawing Room.
What is that?
This is one of these joints that everybody's given a hard time to. It's part of this trend of membership clubs in downtown Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in the old Artifice space right there in the Arts District on the north of Charleston side. It's being run by Ryan Daugherty, does a lot of things here in Las Vegas. He had a bunch of members of the media in, and first of all, fantastic decor, but a lot of ways in that TGI Fridays thing that you were talking about, except
Jesus.
with real fucking antiques.
Okay.
I mean, and if you're lucky enough to be there when Ryan is there, man, just point to something and ask him to tell you the story behind it, including the massive chandelier, which they couldn't get in the door, and they had to buy replacement stuff for it. And, I mean, all kinds of crazy shit. So it's a super cool vibe. I love the art in there. There's some original art that's just really cool. I should have interviewed Ryan, but it wasn't a one-on-one type of situation. So I'm just going to kind of synopsize what he told me about it. I was like, so this is like what? I got to spend a few $1,000s on a membership? And he said, and by the way, I've done that. I was a member of the Foundation Room Club when I first moved to Las Vegas, and I decided it wasn't really worth it. This one, it's worth it if you want to always have a seat, right? And what Ryan basically told me was, he runs the laundry room in the back of Commonwealth, which is super popular, speakeasy. Everybody likes to go there. Used to have a secret phone number to get in. Now everybody tries to go there. It's first come, first served, and none of his VIP friends can ever get a seat in there. So he built this place. He's selling memberships to a select group of people. He's going to have enough space that he knows he can always get all of his members in if they come in at all the same time. But everyone else is welcome. Call, reserve a table, get yourself in there, and you can enjoy the entire thing, right? So it's not a members-only club. It's a club with membership perks.
Yeah. Does he think he has all the members he needs to fulfill that thing, or is he looking for people?
No, I mean, I think he's gotten all. Well, you have to do an application, right?
Yeah.
And he said they were slammed with applications, but that was before he put up the price, which I think is $3,000. But don't quote me on that one. I apologize, Ryan, if I'm getting that wrong. It might be $2,000. I don't know, somewhere in there.
I'm thinking a year or two down the line when that new 40-story condo a couple blocks away is done, and the people who can afford those places starting at about $500,000 or $600,000, they'll be able to kick $3,000 in pretty quick.
Yeah, I think people will. I mean, it's always nice. Look, I've been at that point where I want to be in the hippest spot in town, and I want to make sure, in New York, all you have to do is be cool, right? Like, I used to be able to walk into the cool clubs, but Vegas is a money town.
Yeah,
you got to
have
some
is money.
if you
can be a
cool.
frog, and if you got the money, there you go.
So cocktails, by the way, are brilliant. I knew the mixologist who was making them for us. I've known her from many strip places. She's great. $20 to $26 for a cocktail, for a signature cocktail there. They're all very good, but, you're talking strip pricing at this point. So anyway, that's the deal on the Doberman Drawing Room. Afterwards, Ryan said, hey, have you been into La Mona Rosa? Because, he bought the old La Comida.
Yeah.
And he turned it into La Mona Rosa. And that's right there between Carson and Fremont Street.
Yeah.
Right next to the Commonwealth and the laundry room, as a matter of fact.
Kitty corner from El Cortez.
Yes. So I decided I wanted to go in there. First of all, Ryan said have the shrimp al mojo or mojo. It was really, really good. It's in a creamy garlic sauce. I would normally not order a creamy sauce on my shrimp, but it was fucking great. Ryan was right on for that. With some shallots, some poblanos, some fresh basil leaves on top. Really, really liked that one. I ordered some queso fundido, which I liked. A ton of poblano peppers to stir in with a touch of salsa roja and the cast iron skillet that it comes out on. Didn't quite get enough of the crust on the bottom, the cheese socarat, if you will. But
yeah.
That's not. I'm not complaining about that. That's what I was looking for. But a very, very, very good dish. Sue got the pozole. I would say it needs more hominy. The broth was very, very well seasoned. The meat itself was a little bland, so I'd work a bit on seasoning the meat on that one. I add a little bit more hominy, but not a complaint. Just, if we were making it in Al's restaurant, which nobody would ever come to anyway. So, I should tell you, not a huge tequila selection. I asked to see their tequila list. They didn't actually have one. I looked up at the wall. They have pretty much the usual suspects for a tourist-friendly place, and you could spend whatever you want there. But I wouldn't say go there if you're a tequila connoisseur. I would say go there if you want to have a great fucking time just off of Fremont Street. It's a really, really cool place to party. So, Ryan, thank you for that as well. And as I mentioned, man, I went to see The Empire Strips Back at the Rio. This to me is like teenage me's, wet dream, basically.
Oh, God.
This is strippers and a burlesque variety show that's all Star Wars themed. And I fucking loved it. And I'll tell you, I think it's the greatest bit of theater ever created for me personally. If fuck Shakespeare, we don't need no Shakespeare. Okay, this is
we got George Lucas.
We've got. Look, you've got Chewbacca feigning the sodomy of Han Solo. You've got R2-D2 making it rain on Princess Leia while she disrobes. And of course you've got the Jabba the Hutt scene. Jabba, with Princess in the gold bikini, and Jabba's lip syncing Biggie Smalls. That was really fun to watch. Look, I love the fucking show. I really do. I'll tell you this about the show. If the idea of Star Wars and strippers and burlesque sounds good to you, you're going to be blown away. It's better than you think. If the idea of that sounds stupid to you, don't bother. You'd still enjoy it. A lot more comedy than I expected, by the way. Great MC. And definitely true burlesque, that it wasn't about being atop the show. It was about the art of the tease, So you got to see a little booby, but it wasn't really till the end, right? It was a giant titty center, show. So
I'm out.
That was awesome. Not enough tits for Rich, maybe, but that was great. Had a lot of fun. And I went to Tony Luke's in the in the Rio's food court. Sue got a cheesesteak with whiz. It was damn good. Not the best cheesesteak. Even here in Vegas, I think Pops does a better cheesesteak. But Tony Luke's does Philadelphia roast pork sandwiches. That is my Philadelphia sandwich that I love. Roast pork. You can get it with either broccoli rabe or spinach. You could get it with the sharp Parmesan that I love, and it was just fucking fantastic sandwich. Honestly, for me, that's the sandwich to get. So go to see The Empire Strips Back. Get a Tony Luke's roast pork before you go. Also, shout out to Sarah Lohman and Andrew Corrali. I had a great time watching them do a live CityCast broadcast about ice cream over at Uncommons. That was a lot of fun, so I just want to give them a shout out. And if you could check out that episode, Sarah's a really brilliant woman. She knows a lot about the history of food, and she can tell you everything you need to know about ice cream. I learned a lot listening to her.
All right.
So that's about it, man.
We got news coming up, but we are here at Legends Oyster Bar, and the owner, Jack, is going to start off by telling us how he pronounces his name, and then he's going to feed us. That's the important part.
I know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, this is Food and Loathing.
And finally joining us now, Jack Jarukasem, the owner of the Legends Oyster Bar. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing well, thank you.
That's great. Thanks for having us in here today. We're having a great time. Rich's first time into the restaurant.
I love this already. Just looking at it, now I got to taste it.
We talk about it all the time. Gemini and I come in here, we try to at least as much as we can. Dude, before we get into everything, I'm looking at this article that's on your wall. I actually looked that article up earlier today. 5 years ago last month, I wrote an article for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It was called Two Las Vegas Restaurateurs Debut Amid the Coronavirus Shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them was you. Big picture of you opening this restaurant in the middle of COVID.
Right during shutdown. Yes.
Yeah, 5 years ago. I mean, I can't believe it's only been 5 years in some way, but at another point, it seems like a lifetime.
I don't know. I think that time actually went by pretty fast. 5 years seems like yesterday. I think it's. I guess everything is still under my head where we're still in the zone of COVID times.
Yeah.
So,
I got to think that everything after that initial, oh shit, has been gravy.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, really, man. The problems that you face day to day running a restaurant, which are significant, I guess, when you don't have COVID, they're a lot less difficult, right?
Exactly. So it's it has a lot to do after COVID, and things never been the same. So it's a new normal now.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure all the restaurant owners, it's a new normal. So where they have to adjust themselves to everything that they're doing. Far as supplies and some stuff you don't have on shelves and stuff like that. How you can get, or you can just substitute stuff like that. It's a lot of things that's.
And we may have to do that again soon, based on what I'm hearing. I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to that. I don't know how it's going to affect seafood. But we got some food arriving.
Oh
as
lordy,
we speak.
some shrimpy
Chef,
goodness
could
here.
you tell us
shrimp
what
scampi.
this is? Shrimp
This is
scampi.
the shrimp scampi.
Okay, I'm gonna take some pictures.
got
You
the,
tell me about how you do it here.
Jumbo shrimp. White wine garlic butter.
And nice, beautiful, crusty piece of bread on the top to
Garlic
sop up all of that garlicky
There's a
goodness.
plate over there you should steal because
You
I'm
want
going to
a
steal
plate?
this
Okay,
one
cool.
here.
Oh yeah.
Grab yourself a shrimp. So, Chef, can we go back those 5 years? Because I remember I met you. You're located here. Okay, more food's coming down.
Uh-oh.
More food's coming down. That's before we start the story. Let's hear about all the food that's coming out. Then we're going to dig into it and have a good old time. So you've got one of the things that came out right now was one that I wanted to
Chowder
try.
fries?
These are the chowder fries.
Yes.
This is a really weird dish, I think, that is,
They're good.
to me, very unique to this restaurant. Tell people about it.
Yeah, this is actually a crispy crisp fries with cheese and then clam chowder, which is poured right on top. It could just like when you go to the Mexican restaurant, you got the
Yeah. No more finger
the steak
food.
fries
Now
and
it's
stuff
now
like
it's
that. Yes.
now it's fork
Oh,
food.
now
I'm
he's
pouring
pouring
that
the chowder
chowder
right
all-
onto
all
the
over it.
fries.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you make a great chowder here. So I'd never thought of that. I mean, is that something you did somewhere else?
I actually never did this dish anywhere else.
No?
This is just kind of one of this thing where I woke up one morning, it's like I need something different, and a lot of seafood restaurant, and I just came up with this, and
And cost effective because you're using two existing products together.
they're heavy.
That's a businessman right there.
No, it's an awesome dish. I mean, you always want something different on French fries, right? You put gravy on them, you put cheese on them, you put
Right.
chili on them. I mean, there's
Yeah.
always something. But clam chowder, man, this is amazing. And tell us about your chowder here.
Our clam chowder, we actually we're doing the Boston style. There's just two differences
Yeah.
between Boston and
Manhattan?
And, we got
Oh, yeah.
Manhattan, Boston, and New England.
Uh-huh.
So the New England and the
Oh.
Boston are two different things. If you're gonna argue between
Tell
those
me more.
two, the people from the New England will say we're the original. The people from Boston will say I'm the original. So you can never
People
win
from
on that
Boston
one.
say, we're the fucking original. motherfucker."
A wicked original.
Yeah.
But then
So what's the difference between Boston and New England clam chowder?
one half salt pork, one doesn't. So this
Okay.
one half salt pork.
Salt pork, which I love it. Tastes great. I'm also about to dig in. This shrimp is
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah, and they're
That's
really
jumbo.
nicely
Scampi.
done, too.
Jumbo prawns, yes.
They're not
practically
rubber.
lobsters, for fuck's sake, man. They're
Yeah.
big. Okay, so Rich asked that I order him a lobster roll.
And,
So we got a cold
yeah.
lobster roll. You do them both.
I'll get there.
Both warm and cold here. So tell me about this lobster
First to start off, we did just cold. Far from what I know of, people from the East Coast, they like the cold.
That's the New
Yeah.
England style, Cape
so
Cod
then
style,
people from the West, like such as California, they actually love the warm lobster roll.
which I believe is called, what, Connecticut style? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure where it actually came from the beginning, but you know what? I just add on to the hot
yeah.
or cold of your choice. So I came up with that, and they're both selling pretty well. Depends how you like them.
And now, what's this dish that Rich is digging into? on the
Lobster.
other-
Looks
Lobster
like
mac and cheese.
Lobster mac
Lobster
and
mac
You
and
can
cheese.
do the
cheese.
whole lobster mac and cheese or lobster meat add on to the lobster. People
Okay.
just
All
go
right.
crazy with them with that cheesy sauce that we put in there, and just when you pick them up, you see the cheese string coming out through the plate.
Now, I've always been philosophically opposed to this dish because I don't want stuff in the way of my lobster, but I can still get some lobster.
Those are huge
Here.
pieces of lobster
Yeah.
in that
Yep.
lobster
I mean,
mac and
lobster
cheese.
flavor, with the mac. The cheese is not burying the lobster as I've had so many other times.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, you brought out some grilled oysters because I can't eat raw oysters the way I used to. When you blow out your liver, you're not supposed to do it.
Grilled oyster and the grilled scallops.
Oh, grilled you got some scallops there for us, too.
Stir the combo.
For me.
So.
Cool. So let's talk also, we're going to get to all that. So that's what we're eating now. It's all delicious. I'm loving this shrimp, loving the garlicness, although I really, really do want to just start dipping that bread in, but I won't be able to talk while I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So looks great. So now that we've talked about what we're eating, and now that we're going to be talking with our mouth full for the next 15, 20 minutes before you have to leave, let's go back those 5 years, right? You were opening your first restaurant.
That was my first dream restaurant. I've been, ever since I've been in this career, back of the house, the kitchens. One of my dreams since I got into the kitchens, I have that one goal I always wanted to do is like open my own one day. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. So I stuck around for about 20 years before I say, you know what, I'm ready.
And you were, during those 20 years, you were at Caesar's Entertainment for a fair amount of that time, right?
I was with the Rio for the longest time, Seafood Buffet and the Carnivore Buffet and the Buzios and some other restaurant that was there. So,
and if people are new to Las Vegas, I think like you take them back in time. The Rio's Carnival World Buffet was really the very first super buffet. I mean, I don't think we'd have Bacchanal and all of that today if it wasn't.
That was the father of the buffet. So here in Las Vegas. So back in '90.
Yeah, by the time I came in like '99, like people would just say, "You got to go to the Rio buffet. You got to go to the Rio buffet." And then the question would always be, "Do I need to go to Carnival World or do I need to go to the seafood one?" Because you had the separate Rio seafood buffet, right?
Correct.
And that was unheard of. And people, I mean, I know we look at the Rio now, and it's got some good things happening coming up. The show that I went to see was really great. But that being said, I don't think people realize that was ground zero for the biggest, coolest buffet in Vegas, right?
Back in the Rio was the best of the best of Las Vegas during that time. In the '90s until early 2000s. And then, I was there, and it was just always busy. I remember I used to do 10,000 covers in the Carnival Buffet. That was 10,000
covers.
Yes. Wow. I don't think Bacchanal ever did that number. So when I was there at Bacchanal, we never actually did that number or even come close to it.
Wow.
So we did 10,000, which is like all the way from breakfast all the way to dinner.
I've always been curious, and it's a question I'm ashamed to say I've never asked of our chef owners that we have had on that thing. Mm-hmm. You obviously manage that thing, so you have to do the books, you have to do the hiring, you have to do a lot of that stuff. How did you transition from cooking, running the kitchen, to starting to run the whole restaurant, to eventually having enough business chops to own a restaurant?
Starting one by one, you actually have to learn step by step. It's like learn how to walk. So, once you learn something, you just keep moving on up to the next, challenge yourself and see, hey, what else can I do? What else can I learn? What else can I get myself into and move up to the next level?
But you got to have managers who are willing to let you do that.
Correct.
And make a mistake now and then.
Yeah, everybody make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes until I get better at it. Mistake is actually a good challenge for people to make you better.
Yeah. I feel like chefs who have been on the Strip and have been able to rise to an executive or even an executive sous position many times, they're very much better prepared to run their own restaurants than people who have maybe worked in a famous restaurant in New York or San Francisco, because it seems to me that those hotels, they've got the business part locked down. Like, they may have the food here or there, they may have issues, but the business part...
Believe it or not, far as being the executive chef, that's a lot of responsibility. For the hotels, a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. But you become to a restaurant owner, it's much more responsibility.
Yeah.
I never thought I would actually see myself doing this, and gosh, it's so much more paperwork, so much more thing you got to look for, so much marketing. It's the whole 9 yards. It's just one part where you just focus in the back of the house. Now you got to focus overall, the whole 9 yards. Marketing strategy, game plans, health department inspections. You got to be ready at all time for everything.
Do you get to cook a little more here than you did when you were on the Strip, or are you too busy with all the business to cook?
jumping in here and there.
On the
so
line,
that's
yeah.
pretty much me. I cannot just put myself on a line anymore because there's some other stuff that I can actually do.
Right.
Unless I'm very short in certain areas.
Right.
Same thing in the hotels. You know, is when I was there. Most restaurants, owners or chefs got to do that. So
Yeah.
if you're stuck on the line all day long, and then that's what you're gonna get, where you just be on the line.
How was learning sourcing? Because at the big place, you've got an entire procurement division that brings in semis and airplane loads of stuff every day, and you just say, yeah, okay, this, and this. Now you got to go find those people yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same ball game where over there in casino where we have a sort of vendor list that we got to go through and go by with. Here is you got to actually kind of sort onto your own or asking around and just do your homework.
But I'm assuming you had a lot of great connections, right? You knew a lot of
That was the best thing that happens to me when I was in working in a casino. So it was good that I know where stuff coming from and how to get certain things.
Is it a little easier to get good seafood here than it was in the 90s? Is it easier now?
Well, I would say, you know what, the 90s was different, and nowadays was just a little rough with the marketing. So it's the market's up and down. So it's different type of challenge.
Okay, but I just thought maybe with the growth of fine dining on the Strip, celebrity chefs on the Strip, the people like Nobu and Morimoto coming to town.
Oh yeah,
and that would have just kind of eased up the supply chains for quality seafood coming
Not quite. Supply chains for seafood majority is crab legs. Let's just say for the early 2000s, crab legs will shipped out here to U.S. First majority. And the next thing you know, China had this bid where they have to pay the same price, and they ship the whole crab to China, and they're willing to pay that price.
All right.
And then here in the United States, you gotta, bring it to the butcher's chainsaw, cut the legs, and that's all the legs. So that's and you're wasting the shells.
Right.
So over there in China, they eat that whole thing.
Yeah.
So now that China have that demand of buying American crab legs.
Wow, I didn't realize that we exported crab legs.
Yes, to
Oh,
China. Yeah. And they're actually willing to buy all that, and the people over there go nuts with those crab legs that we got from here.
I got to think those shells and guts make some pretty great stock.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they do. You could do a lot of stock with it. Same thing with lobster. Same thing with king crab. But now short supplies on the crabs right now is because it has a lot to do with the
Environment?
climate change.
Yeah.
So they're used to be in certain area. Now they kind of move around to the different areas. So the fishermen
Crabs
gotta
are
wandering around and figured out where it's next they have to go.
They're immigrating to
Yeah,
find better weather, right?
And as we record this, some serious tariffs are about to kick in. Have you had to address that yet?
Guys?
There will be. I believe everybody gotta be prepared for your second plan. So you may have your first plan right now. You're gonna have A, B, C. So we'll play with the game. So we have to go with it.
And opening during COVID, I mean, nobody could have prepared you for that, but that probably has prepared you for a lot of other things.
That was one of the roughest time.
You weren't even serving oysters, right? I mean, oysters is what you've gone on to be known for.
Everything was shipment was out.
Yeah.
All the shipment was out, so it was hard. So it was a little rough. But the first month I didn't have any oyster until maybe after a month and a half. Then I'll start having the oysters and everything coming back in and back to normal. But it was a little rough at first.
And
Wow.
okay, so one thing I remember from 5 years ago is I ordered a lot of takeout from this restaurant. Like when you guys first opened up, I was ordering a lot of takeout from here. And I'm wondering, did you always plan to do like a hefty takeout business, or was that just a reaction to COVID? And if it was a reaction, has that like helped you learn to package your shit and get it out to people that want it out the door?
It was kind of, I would say, I don't want it to happen, but it's actually happened. Where everybody's just doing a takeout. So it was, for me, it's like I practice myself because I cannot just open it and have people coming in anymore. So,
Right.
you have, first you have soft opening, you have grand opening. So I didn't have a chance to do that. The only thing I can actually communicate with the world was the online. social medias and word by mouth, and then friends and friends of friends, and they pass on along with the word, and that's thank God that happens. And so we practice ourselves, get the menu together, get everything together, get all the food together, and then we just do all the packaging first. But my food is not meant to go, so if you put it into go, it doesn't taste as good as being here.
Right, but I feel like a lot of chefs had to learn how to make it taste a little better to go because of COVID.
Yes, we all adjust from it. We all did.
Let's talk about the menu here, because it's an interesting menu. You could come here just for oysters and scallops and get fresh seafood and raw bar, and it's absolutely fantastic for that. And I think because it's so good for that, a lot of people don't even think beyond that. But you do a wide variety. You've got Italian food with seafood here. You've got pan roast, which is something you normally just see in a casino, right? I didn't know pan roasts were ever sold outside of a casino. So what's the theme that runs through your menu?
Well, the actually overall seafood dish that's all around the country. If anything, I can actually think of my own, just such as the sea bat jasmine risotto. That's pretty much I build that up and then put all it together myself. All recipe here I actually created. On our own, and then we want to do it different from everybody else, but make sure it's good. So such as pan roast itself, I did bash after bash after bash until I get it right. Until I actually get it right, and then make that recipe and just build everything into grams, so I get that consistency on every measurements that I do.
And as Al is enjoying the soppy bread with the
yeah,
shrimp scampi stuff,
best, man.
I
Just
will
getting up that
step in
shrimp
on this
scampi.
lobster roll and say that's wonderful. I get a little tarragon going in there, and the naked New England style
Yeah, New
bun.
England bread
Did you
buns,
making
yeah.
those yourself, or is there somebody who does that in
Oh,
town?
we have the company that's sending it to us with the bread, all the
Yeah,
breads and
because that's
everything else.
a unique New England thing.
At first I was trying to do
stands up
everything
very
on my
nicely.
own, which is
What now?
Stands up very nicely.
It does, yes.
Yeah. All sandwiches should be served on that bread.
I
They'd
love that.
stand up
Less
better.
crust, more toast.
Oh, man. So, do you have plans to expand this? You've had a huge hit here over by Desert Breeze Park. We're right across from Desert Breeze Park on Durango and Desert Inn. You do great. I know people come from all over the valley. Any thoughts about expanding?
I have a lot of thought of expanding, not just the oyster bar and grill, because this is actually will probably be the only oyster bar and grill. For the Legend is the brand. Oyster Bar and Grill is this location. I will probably open up oyster bar and chowder house where I can always steak and lobster. I have a lot of plans like that that I want to do, but I haven't got to that point yet. So a lot has to do with the challenge economies and all that stuff is up and down right now. So a lot of places tried to open up, a lot of places shutting down. So I'm aware of that, and I'm just kind of laying low right now. Then just see once everything get better in my visions, I'll be ready again. So
Good time to stand pat, which also then gives you more prep time and more ready to rock time when it's time.
So you were born in Thailand, correct?
I was born and raised in Thailand.
And I know you go back there pretty frequently, I would say.
Yes.
But yet I don't see a lot of Thai influences on the menu.
Not so much. I have a few. It's just such as a new menu that I have coming up. I got steamed halibut with steamed halibut and clam on that, and with Thai chili and lime sauce.
Cool.
Okay,
Sort of
I
a
got the
crispy fish without the big full whole fish.
yes.
Oh,
So,
yeah, okay.
There you go.
Sold.
I got
Talking
the,
Rich's language now,
Yeah,
man.
baby.
I got some the seafood sauce, dipping sauce that we use here on the grill oyster or scallops that you're eating it raw, instead of using the cocktail sauce and horseradish,
Oh, okay.
stuff
That's
like
cool.
that. So I got some other, just a little touch to it, not so much.
Right.
So I got the chili spice that I put on the chili oil that I put it on the all the sauces. That's adding up spice to the customer. Depends how they want it. It's like I have a few customers came in and say I want that Thai spice. Bring it on. So bring it on. I was like, yeah.
People that want it up to an 11, right?
I don't know.
Bangkok hot.
I don't want that ever, man. I want American wussy hot.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
spicy. Yes.
Oh man, I'm trying to think what else we need to touch on before we let you get out of here. I know you got to.
I feel up new menus coming right up next week, and then we get ready for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day for everybody that's coming out through. So hey, if you think about your mother, bring her over.
Bring her in for some
I'm
seafood.
sure she's gonna love this place.
Yeah.
How many types of oysters do you carry?
We got about, depends on the day throughout the week. So we have about 3 to 4 types a day at least.
Okay.
Sometimes 5 to 6. That depends what they have available, because a lot of them have to do with farm shutting down and stuff like that. I cannot get what I used to get. So some of them is ready to hatch. Some of them is or just like such as Fat Bastard. That was actually one of my favorite oyster, and now the farm is actually shutting down. So we'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of other type of oyster out there. So we do about, we have about 10 to 12 different type of oyster, but depends on what's available on the market.
Right. Cool. Well, man, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for having us. We've talked about everything out here. It's all fantastic. We're going to be eating this through the rest of the show, the tail end of the show, man.
Yeah.
But I really do appreciate it. Coming up, we've got a happy hour report and the news. This is Food and Loathing.
By now you know about Neon Feast, the app that serves up Las Vegas restaurant recommendations not from self-appointed influencers hustling for free meals or flame from disgruntled diners. Neon Feast gives you suggestions based on our conversations with Vegas restaurant pros, the chefs, managers, owners, writers, bloggers, and others who make this industry great. What kind of food do you want? What part of the valley? How much to spend? What's the occasion? Ask Neon Feast and get the answers. Also check for restaurant news and in-depth features at Neon News. We have you covered with the Neon Feast app and neonfeast.com. And for restaurant news you can use, neonnews.vegas.
It is that time of the show where we do our weekly happy hour report. There's nobody we trust more to tell us where to get booze at odd hours at inexpensive prices than Mr. Andrew Morgan, the creator of happyhourvegas.com. And seriously, it's a great resource. You should have it bookmarked by now. You should be going back there all the time. You should be on their newsletter, which you can sign up for there. But you should also come here and listen once a week, because we cut through all of the searching and we do individual recommendations. So we're going to ask you, Andrew, which of your lists are we diving into this week?
Yeah, absolutely. And to that end, there's no chat GPT here. This is straight from the source. We go right to the restaurants. We speak to the people. We sample it. We're enjoying it. And we come back here and report to you direct. You're not going to find this anywhere else.
And I got to say, because who wants a fucking chat GPT writing about a bar? I want somebody who got drunk in that bar telling me about it.
Exactly. With the locals or someone who works there, right? So... so today we are hitting the burbs. We're in Henderson.
All right, Henderson, you guys, you've got a lot of great things over there, but sometimes I feel you get a little overlooked in the foodie world. So I'm glad we're talking to people in Henderson about happy hours. What you got?
Yeah, so Henderson's pretty cool. They got about 35 happy hours, give or take. A lot of them are at the casinos, Green Valley Ranch and what have you. But there's a lot of independents, and those guys have stood the test of time, and that's pretty exciting as well, because great flavors, great history, great people to talk to when you're talking about Henderson happy hours. To that end, in one of the casinos that I like, or one of the areas where the casinos, Baracha in Green Valley. They have an exceptionally good happy hour. And I like it there, not just because it's got that chill cantina vibe, but it's got this upscale, authentic spiciness that adds depth, color, and texture to the experience. Of course, they had me at $9 margaritas and $8 street tacos and sliders, but the overall experience, dude, it's killer. It's a good happy hour.
Baracha in Green Valley Ranch. I believe it's a Click Hospitality venue, if I'm remembering correctly. And you and I just had a dinner there not that long ago. But, you could scroll back a few episodes if you want to hear about that. Okay, that's one in Green Valley. What else you got in Green Valley?
I'm going to go a little low-key, and it is The Local, also at Green Valley Ranch. So complete opposite of Cantina or the Steakhouse heavies that we're used to, which, by the way, Steakhouse heavies in Henderson, Echo and Rig, Hank's, those are great happy hours, great go-tos. But something a little on the lighter fare here, The Local. So it's always been one of our favorite wine bar happy hours in Vegas across the valley. But the menu is pretty much what you think it is, and it's what you want for an aperitivo with the girls, if you will, So it's like light salad, some sandwich, some paninis, some really great boards, by the way. But they're also paired with like $7 wines and, of course, the $9 District Dirty Martini. Can't not go there and not have that.
So this is, I don't know this place. I have not been in the local. So you're saying it's in the district at Green Valley Ranch. Is it in that main district that's sort of, on the same side of the road as Green Valley Ranch where you can walk? Or is it in that other why did the chicken cross the road he went to get to the other side of the district side?
Yeah, no, it's in that main area. So it's close to all the shops and stuff like that.
We will be back in 1 week here on Food and Loathing with another Happy Hour report from Andrew Morgan at happyhourvegas.com. Okay, it is time for the news now. And look, man, we can't talk restaurant news this week without discussing the sudden closing of two amazing restaurants, Table 34 and Bromare.
Yeah.
The official news coming out just before we recorded this. The news that caused it to happen, or that preceded it, I should say, preceded it time-wise, was something we learned about while we were recording the last episode, actually, at Vegas Unstripped. I'm sure by now most of you have seen this story about the arrest of Evan Glussman, who, of course, is one of the owners of Table 34 in Bromare. He allegedly made some kind of threats against the employees of his family's restaurant, Piero's, reportedly stemming from a dispute over whether he took out an unauthorized loan against that restaurant last fall. Here's the thing. The story is way too complex for me to dig into on my own. I'm going to have to trust the reporting of the people at the Review Journal and elsewhere as it comes out on what happened there. I'm going to send you over there to figure out what really is going on. Of course, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. I happen to really like Evan. He mended the fences after an unfortunate rift between me and Piero's. I've gone on to witness some of the charity work he's personally done in this town. I've watched him hand out hundreds of bikes to kids around Christmas time in the Piero's parking lot to commemorate a lost friend of his. So I like Evan. So even if I was still at the RJ, I probably wouldn't be the right person to research this story.
Yeah.
I'd be a little biased. So, for now, all I'll say is that if Evan, his business partner Constantine, and his father Freddie, or anyone from Piero's, you guys, if you ever want to talk, you're all welcome on this show at any time to tell your side of the story. I'm not going to be doing any active research on this because that ain't what I do anymore. I used to do that. Rich, we used to investigate hard news. I'm sick of it, man. I'm tired of the bummer news.
No kidding. But the tragedy of the restaurants.
The parts that I have to tell you, and the reason we're bringing this up is, as we record this, Bromare and Table 34 have both closed. I don't know what to say, man. Huge loss for the town. There's so many talented and amazing people associated with both of those restaurants. I hope they all find jobs quickly. I'm going to enthusiastically support the shit out of anything that Constantine, Chef Joe Valdez, or anyone on their team ends up doing next. And that's really all we can say about it.
That's all we need to say about that. Yeah.
So, okay, on to fun stuff. I went over to Marche Bacchus. They were doing a wine pairing dinner with Robert Biale Vinyards last week. So I dropped by and spoke to the Vinyards owner, Bob Biale. Asked him about why he likes doing events at this Desert Shores landmark.
I've been coming here for years and years and years. They've been very hospitable and generous in purchasing our wine for years. And so there's a clientele that is built up, and the food here is exquisite.
And Lupe Avila is the corporate executive chef for Marche's parent company, Huckle Hospitality, as well as for the restaurant. And I sat down with him right after I sat down with Bob, and he told me why he likes doing wine dinners like this.
It allows me to channel a lot of my classical training. I've worked for some cool chefs like Hubert Keller, Charlie Palmer, some of the guys that came up in the 80s and 90s. And I just love cooking the fundamental French cuisine that they instilled into me. And it gives me the ability not only to share, that training and those beautiful recipes that I've learned, and the staff here loves it. It brings, a clientele that has been coming here for quite some time, and they get new experiences. So it's outside of the normal menu, which is refreshing for our guests.
It's a pretty amazing setting as well, right?
It's stunning, man. This is one of the few restaurants in Las Vegas where you feel transported and you don't feel like you're in the middle of the desert. You have the beautiful lake and the just beautiful setting in our patio that's just stunning.
We have news from CarverSteak in Resorts World. First, Carver Road's mixologist, Francisco Lifranconi, has a new bar on the restaurant's patio. It's called Les Spritz. Al spoke to Chef Daniel Ontiveros about that.
We have a beautiful enclosed patio, beautiful decor. We're going to be offering, Francesca will be offering about 10 different spritz cocktails. Some are non-alcoholic, which is even great. And then we have some small food menu items to pair with that. Caviar poppers. We have croquetas with shaved jamon on top. We have pan de cristal with a little bit of tomato, boquerone on top. And we have a little cheese and charcuterie plate, tuna tartare, things like that. So lighter fare options for sure.
And the chef also told Al about the new spring menu at CarverSteak that just rolled out.
Some of the key highlights to that is our burrata and spring salad with a basil vinaigrette, super light, refreshing, lots of raw vegetables in there, if you will, spring peas and things like that. We also have a beautiful roasted halibut dish with a roasted tomato vinaigrette, a little fennel salad, some scallops, beautiful U10 scallops, roasted with like a cauliflower puree. And then we also have, which is one of my favorite, is a herb crusted salmon with a English pea and truffle puree. Really light on the truffle, but very, very delicious. And we have a beautiful foie gras with kumquats and a almond and pink peppercorn glace, if you will, to add a little bit of texture, and a cranberry pan perdue. So just a couple things.
Is there a theme that kind of ties it all together?
You know, the theme is just us having fun with the ingredients that are available to us. You know, fresh morels and asparagus, and really highlight those dishes or those ingredients, and appreciate them for their time that they're here, because they don't last long. As you know, we live in Las Vegas, so spring comes and goes in about 2 weeks.
Remember when dollar oysters were a thing?
Man, that seems so long ago. I don't remember the last time anybody's done that, except...
Except I've seen, maybe it's not such a bad idea that doesn't happen. I remember seeing a place where they got the big gallon jar of oysters, and they were picking them out and putting them on shelves.
Okay, no. We're not talking about that. We're talking about real giant oysters. Real dollar oysters, freshly shucked. Not a lot of people have done it in a long time. You know it's a money loser, but...
It's back at Basilico in the Southwest Valley every Wednesday. Basilico's Rudy Aguas talked about it.
We want to kind of, do something big here at Basilico. So we wanted to do oysters. So dollar oysters all day on Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's been phenomenal. And, we definitely getting a lot of people, regulars and stuff. We've been selling out the past 3 weeks. So we're kind of upping everything up every single week, which is great.
Any limit on how many you can get?
You can get increments of 6. So as long as you're ordering by 6 and stuff, you're good to go.
Oh, damn, more news, actually. Yeah. Just got a message from one of my friends over at Gordon Ramsay's Steak about their new Take Me Back happy hour. They're going to revert to the pricing from May 2012, which is when the restaurant opened over there at Paris, Las Vegas. They've got 7 appetizers priced at $10 to $22. Things like Caesar salad, ale onion soup, sliders, tartare, shrimp cocktail, fries. And then they have 13 cocktails. This is on the Strip in a steakhouse, fancy restaurant
at Caesars
at Paris
for
Paris, $11 to $14 for these 13 cocktails, and these are the things they had on the menu when they opened. They're back on the menu again, and that's a new happy hour thing they've got going on. Don't have the exact hours, but just go by and try it. Golden Tiki continues its 10th anniversary celebration with a special edition of its monthly Betty Page tribute night on Tuesday, May 13th from 9 p.m. till midnight. The evening's going to feature the launch of a limited edition wine called Cecilia Seaworthy, and it's going to showcase an original portrait of the Golden Tiki's general manager, Cecilia Berryman? I'm sorry, Cecilia. Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, and I do apologize. But anyway, she's got her face on a picture on a bottle of wine, so that's pretty fucking cool.
Is she the one with the Betty Page haircut?
I'm just assuming that she must be.
I'm a big Betty Page fan.
Shot an episode of Insomniac, by the way, Rich, with, have you seen this yet?
No.
This isn't even that food related, except I talk about food on it. But Jonathan Scott does this new late night thing on the local NBC affiliate after Saturday Night Live airs, so it's super late.
Well, we know Jonathan from, the nascent attempts at this over the last 3 years in the back of a strip club and then someplace else.
Yeah.
And then we sort of ran into him in the hallway a few weeks ago at that production house we went to.
And that is where I went to record Insomniac. I don't know when it's coming out, man, but we've got Johnny Fabulous playing music. We got comedian Stoner Rob, a bartender from Jimmy Kimmel, whose name I can't remember. Anyway, look for that. Look for me on Insomniac. It's fun. And you get to see me dance with a showgirl marionette. Well, we all dance with the showgirl marionette at the end of it, so stay tuned till the end.
Okay, that's your hook to watch, right, you saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, no, you get to see me.
Yeah.
You get to see me, and I talk about food, and we do have, we find out everybody's opinion on bong versus joint, although I come in with edibles on that one. So, no, it's a well-packed, action-packed show.
No kidding.
You should be watching. Stoner Rob, by the way, great Cheech and Chong stories. He worked for them for years, so it's fantastic.
That's a good tease.
And that is about it this week, Rich, unless I have more out-of-order notes.
Oh, we got more food to finish here.
I know. This food is so good. I hope you're taking it home because I got a
sir.
Golden Knights game tonight. I'm not going to be able to eat any of it. Thanks to our hosts, Jack Jarukasem, and everyone at the Legends Oyster Bar, as well as all of our guests, Daniel Ontiveros, Lupe Avila, Bob Biale, Rudy Aguas, and thanks to Happy Hour Vegas' Andrew Morgan for another great report.
Yeah.
I'm Al Mancini with Rich Johnson on behalf of Gemini Stevens, hoping that your plate is always full and you always stay hungry enough to enjoy it.